The blood of demonstrators shot to death on the street has long ago washed away, but the horrors of that day remain in the memory of Ukrainians.
I came from there. I saw there were already many bodies that were put together next to the hotel. At that point, people started to carry bodies away. I went up and started to help them carry away the bodies, and we took them up the street.
2 years on, an undeclared war drags on in the east, and Ukraine is under pressure to implement agreements reached in Minsk to end the conflict. Among Minsk's demands, that Ukraine make constitutional changes granting more autonomy to the Donetsk and Luhansk regions, now controlled by Russian-backed separatists, something Ukrainians say they will not accept.
You cannot do the peace talks and political situation to give more autonomy to some of the region, while other regions will say, wait a second, why these guys took the weapon and secured more money, more power, their own militia, and while our guys are dying there for their having more power.
Ukraine fears Europe may not renew sanctions against Russia this year if it does not implement Minsk. But those agreements would be poison for Ukraine, in the words of former Ukrainian intelligence officer Alexei Arestovich.
Any attempt to implement the Minsk agreement would lead to a long-term domestic crisis. They are written in a way they could not be implemented. They have huge opposition in society, so this is a dead end.
There is still hope the sacrifices made on this square that morning of 2014 will pay off.
It's true, the cost we have paid is enormous. Many lives were lost. Now, after 2 years from Maidan, it's difficult to say if these young men and women gave their lives in vain.
The Maidan Revolution was largely about self-determination. It was known as the Revolution of Dignity. Now, 2 years later, with pressure coming from the West and from Russia, there are questions about whether Ukraine is once again being pushed to act against its own national interests. Ramirez, VOA News, Kyiv.